welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for what is left of the month of May 2024. I hope you're well and apologies for the delay in getting this to you. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot for you today. So we'll skip all the usual preamble. You know where all the stuff is if you want it. It's down in the description box below. And let's get straight into your cards. Let's have a look and see what's going on, please, for Cancer. Cards for Cancer. Thank you. We have the Four of Wands, the Two of Wands, and the Nine of Cups in your recent past, right there. What about current energy, please, for Cancer? Thank you. We have the Queen of Wands and what's coming towards Cancer right now, please. Thank you. We have the Five of Pentacles and we have the Star with the Tower at the bottom of the deck. And immediately I feel very strongly, so strongly in fact that I've got goosebumps all over, that, how to put this, is it a sharp turn of fate? Possibly it might be. So here's the thing. The Five of Pentacles is a pretty uncomfortable card, but it does not feel to me that it's one that you aren't aware of, that you're somehow unaccustomed to, and that you're going to get broadsided by in some sort of way, which is, you know, a possibility of the way we could read the Tower being at the bottom of the deck. It is the sole negative card on the table, though, which makes me feel like, because the Star card and the Nine of Cups are actually really quite closely related to each other in terms of meaning. There's some overlap there, which is interesting because they are, you know, minor and major arcana respectively. It makes me feel like there is something here that's represented by the Five of Pentacles that has been a block, an obstacle to you in some sort of way. Like whether this is an internal state, an internal, I don't know, inner critic, negativity, all that kind of thing, or it's something actually outside of you. Perhaps it is, you know, a lack of money where some is needed. Perhaps it is a lack of something where it has been, and its presence is being missed. Because the Star and the Nine of Cups have that overlap to them, it feels to me like there's a bumping straight over the top of what it would be that would traditionally hold you back. I'm sorry, I know I'm kind of a little bit all over the place here. Let's get some clarifiers out and anchor this a little bit, because you've got a lot of wand energy here, and then you've got this rather contemplative energy of the Queen of Wands in the middle, and I'll explain her when we get to her. And then we've got this really sharp, and it does feel really sharp, turn that is busting through something that has either been conspicuous by its absence, and that's what's caused the problem, or there's somehow the block, the obstacle, the thing, whatever it is, like bursting through that to hit the Star quality. And, you know, the Tower is often given to be one of those terrifying cards, right? People see it as a negative card. It's really not. It's just the element of surprise, really. You know, it's the universe going, you need to go this way. More often than not, we associate that with, you know, losses of some sort of way. But if the loss is of the loss, which is to say the losses of whatever it is that you feel like you haven't been able to have that was needed, then what you've got is abundance. What you've got is what you actually want. Now, let me just give these a shuffle. And we'll put some meat on the bones of this, but it does feel significant. So tell me about this Four of Wands, Two of Wands and Nine of Cups combination, please. Five of Wands in reverse. Eight of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles. Interesting. Tell me about the Queen of Wands, please. Oh, Six of Swords. Two of Cups, and then Five of Pentacles and the Star, please. Oh, goodness. We have the Hermit in reverse, the Queen of Swords. Let's get one more. And the Four of Pentacles in reverse, with now the Death card at the bottom of the deck. So interestingly enough, this is the same combination in the same place that I had the week I decided I was going to divorce my husband, interestingly enough. And that's interesting because that was a loss, but it wasn't a loss. It was a loss, but it was the first step in the acquisition of the life that I had actually always wanted for myself. Now, for you, I feel it's slightly different because what followed on then was several years of trying to wrangle myself fucking free of that, which I have to say only only reached its conclusion in March this year. However, the combination of these major arcana cards that we see here, where we have a card that speaks about your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, and also your healing, and then two cards that talk about something rather sudden happening here and the end of a cycle happening here. But more importantly, this process of transformation is a word that gets used relatively often, and I'm always cautious about using words too much in case they lose the impact of their meaning. But a transformation is a transformation, and just because it's being used a lot recently, which it is, doesn't mean that we aren't all undergoing something really, truly fundamental. I was having a conversation with someone today, and I was telling them about how there were certain things that had happened in my life relatively recently where I had to go back and challenge my own belief structures on something that had been an absolute constant for my entire life. And realizing that it wasn't quite the zero-sum game that I had thought it was. And actually there was some benefit to the other side, and I had now kind of changed my position on particular lifestyle choices that I had made for myself, well, I had made for me when I was a kid. And I said I felt like I'd grown as a person because of it. And she was, it's actually a medical doctor, and she said, well, in all likelihood, that is exactly what's happened, because when you do things like that, what you do is you create new neural pathways in your brain. So your brain is literally growing. And although, I'm talking about things in a kind of relatively psychological way, we've got a combination of both a physical glow up from you, Cancer, which is to say some sort of material glow up, but also this sense of you becoming so much bigger than you have ever been before. Now, I realise that's quite a lot to dump on you in one go, so I think it's probably more sensible if I pick up my little stick here and we start at the beginning, because there's a process that's been undergone here by you that is going to result in something fairly big happening either in this last week or so of May or coming into June. But it's got its originating point within you and a little bit further back than where we are right now. So if we start over here with your recent past, we've got the 4 of Wands, the 2 of Wands, and the 9 of Cups. And that's quite interesting, because whenever the 2 of Wands comes up between two cards, which it actually does relatively often, we have a state of this energy or this energy, right? We're literally at a crossroads. We're trying to pick a direction. And this 4 of Wands, a card that speaks of home and, the kind of, it's a foundational card, right? So wherever we've got a number 4, we've got a foundation that has been built in some sort of way. And so then also notions of security and stability and, functionality, utility, these sorts of things. And with the Wands, it's in terms of... So here's the thing, I don't see the 4 of Wands like this very often, but I'm seeing it as a continuity of the 3 of Wands. So the 3 of Wands for me, it can be this low-level manifestation energy where we go after something that we have planned for in the 2 of Wands, right? Where we've committed to one path or the other, and then we actually exercise our autonomy by going off in that direction, right? That's how we manifest shit. But the other way that I see it is changed behavior. Now, it's changed behavior because that generally is the crossroads that we're at. Are we going to do things the same way that we've always done them, or are we going to do them differently? Are we going to utilize the wisdom, the knowledge, everything that we've picked up by way of difficult situations, and choose to go in another way, choose to act differently? Maybe even in situations, choosing to turn the other cheek, or choosing to assert ourselves and stand up for ourselves where we wouldn't do before. Now, that continuation of that particular aspect of the Three of Wands for me seems really, really strong, because the Four puts it into a slightly more fixed position because it's foundational. What we've got here then is you questioning the wisdom of doing things the way that you have always done them versus the potential that you have to be happy beyond the bounds of anything that you've ever experienced before. And that requires a big push from you. It has required a big push from you, because in all likelihood, things that you thought would make you happy have turned out that they haven't. And things that you didn't think in a million years would make you happy, would make you emotionally fulfilled, suddenly are holding a promise, the like of which you haven't really perceived before. It just feels like it's filling you up. So the question is, do we remain the same, or do we move towards something that is so far out of our outside of the experiences that we've had so far, that there's something also relatively threatening about it? I almost feel like you sitting here and asking yourself if it's possible that you, as in versus somebody else, would be capable of having this much joy, this much emotional satisfaction, this much emotional fulfillment in your lifetime. And the interesting thing is, I'm feeling very strongly that you are answering yes. Now, we've got these three cards under here. We've got the Five of Wands, we've got the Eight of Pentacles, which is, so Five of Wands is reversed, Eight of Pentacles is on its side, and then we have the Nine of Pentacles, and I think that that's quite interesting there, because we've got double nines sitting on the table. Oh, what a shit show that is. Hang on, let me straighten that up. So, first instance, you've stopped going to war with yourself. That message is very specific. You are not at war with yourself anymore. And as a result, it's likely that you're probably not at war with other people, on account of the fact that you realise that a lot of the things that have happened in your life have been possibly as a result of the projections that you've put onto it. But equally, it works the other way around. And I feel like when we lose the need to be at war with ourselves, and it is a need of some sort of peculiar sort, it dials down the need to be at war with everyone else as well. And that's where you are right now. That is very, very specific. So this Four of Wands is being broken down by the energy of the reversed Five of Wands. Right? It also speaks about a kind of stability and security not hitherto experienced. Certainly not by the standards that you would have judged it before. Okay? The Five of Wands in reverse for me sometimes is conflict resolution, and again, that feels like it's something that you're doing within yourself. But here's where it gets interesting, because this Eight of Pentacles in on its side as it is, right, neither upright nor blocked or delayed or whatever in its reverse. It's actually come out sideways like this, and this sideways presentation of it is assessing the virtue of a commitment one way or the other. Right? It's very much the same sort of energy as the Two of Wands. There, looking back in the past, you can see how you've absolutely grafted to get to where you are, emotionally, materially, whatever. And you've done it with a certain set of values that now seem to no longer apply in quite the same way that they did before. Perhaps your core values have been restructured quite a bit recently. But indeed, just the notion of what it is that makes you happy, and how you are allowed to have that, whatever form that takes, right? There is nothing, it feels to me, that is too big for you to want and actually achieve for yourself at the moment. But it's of a very different flavour to what you thought you wanted 5 years ago. And I don't know why it's so specifically 5 years ago, but it is, that's what it's saying, 5 years ago. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. Now, the nines for me speak about how you as an individual manage whatever suit that they represent. So with the Nine of Cups, in addition to the things that I've said before, it's also about how you manage your emotions, right? Realizing that everything about your emotions is, well, not only your business, but also your responsibility to sort out. It's not for anybody else, and vice versa, right? You are not somebody else's punching bag. You're not somebody else's mother, right? You're no one else's mother. And everything's to do with, everything needs to be handled by you. And you're very comfortable with that, again, in a way that you haven't been before. So correspondingly, the Nine of Pentacles talks about where your energy is going and where your resources are going. I think it's very interesting that we should have the Five of Pentacles there, the Four of Pentacles here, and these two sets of Pentacles as well. Because Pentacles don't have to be just money. That's how a lot of people interpret that. Money, material resources, that kind of thing. It does mean those things. But for me, because the Pentacles represent that which can be invested, it's your time, it's your care, it's your effort, it's your money, it's your love, it's your energy, it's your attention. All of these things come under the purview of the Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles says, I'm ready to start managing my own resources, whether it is my money, whether it is my attention, whatever it is. It's interesting. I was listening to something on subliminal advertising earlier, a little documentary while I was cleaning the kitchen, and it ties in quite nicely, because the whole thing with subliminal advertising is it circumvents your conscious mind and therefore your conscious will, and speaks directly to your subconscious without any of your conscious mind recognizing that it's happened. That's criminal, in my opinion, because it's circumventing consent and it's circumventing sovereignty and all those kind of things. Now, I don't think that you've been subject to subliminal advertising, but it's in the example that I gave, right, that kind of thing would be a way in which your pentacles were kind of flowing away from you without even knowing that it was happening. Now, what I like about the nines is they're always very mindful and they're always very conscious. There is a lot of conscious energy going into this. So it isn't just about what you want for yourself now or even what you want for yourself in the future. It's the way that you wish to get there. And it is entirely under your own steam. Nobody else's. You don't want to be influenced by anybody else. And more importantly, and this is huge, you don't want to be influenced by a past version of you that would have said, you can't do that, you can't have that, you don't deserve it, that's too big, it's not for the likes of you, what are you even thinking about? All of that has unduly influenced you for a long time, and I think Cancer's been doing a wickedly good job in the last year of putting all of that shit to rest. But now there seems to be something, right now, as we're talking, there seems to be something of an internal revolution going on within you, where everything that's been on autopilot, everything that you might have been complacent about, is getting the sunlight of your attention on it. Is this what I want? Yes or no? Am I following some sort of default pattern? Yes, no, but if I am, it's gone. Am I trying to stick to something that I know because it's safe? Or am I ready? Do I have enough faith in myself to believe that I am actually the architect of my own existence, and there is nothing that is too big? There's nothing that I can't do. There's nothing that's canny magician like Cancer. But taking responsibility for all of it. And this is huge, because then when we move into your current energy with the Queen of Wands here, we have you possibly taking the same approach with your close relationships, and we see the Two of Cups here. But I feel like it's something a little bit more than that. It's something that's sitting over the top of it. It isn't how, you know, whether you and your spouse rub along nicely, or you and a business partner, because it can indicate the same. It's more the assessment of how you show up. I've talked before about how we tend to try to transplant who we are right now into an entirely different life, right? And it doesn't work. I've referenced New Year's resolutions and shit like this to demonstrate that before. And instead, if we really want to effect some sort of change in our lives, like, we have to turn into the kind of people that do those things. That's straightforward and pretty simple for me. I think that you're quite possibly looking at the way that you interact with others in relationships. And again, there's this mindfulness coming in. It's your independence is really, really important to you now. Really important. And I don't think that you would give it up for anything. And we could see you moving away from people, and we could see you moving towards people, but everything's under your steam. This is the point. You choose what is happening. To the degree that I think if you wanted to, I don't know, for example, adopt a very traditional mindset about things, and you decide that you would like to be a wife and mother, or a husband and a father, at this point, it would not feel like you were losing anything, because you had chosen to do that. And this psychological shift, and the realization that goes with it, that whatever you're doing, it's because you are choosing to do it right here, right now. It feels like it's changing everything. It's completely changing everything. Like I said, internal revolution. Because the Six of Swords talks about there being some sort of mental movement going on. And we've definitely got notions of independence here, and the questioning and the assessing of whether what you have worked for up until this point is still serving you, or whether it is time for some sort of abrupt change. Again, I don't feel like it's where you're going that is important to you. It feels to me like it's the journey. How am I going to get there? What are my expectations on the way? What am I opening myself up to? It's the difference, I guess, for example, of going from one end of Germany to the other on the Autobahn, right, and doing it at 120 miles an hour the whole way, or choosing to walk the Camino and taking 6 to 8 weeks to walk across France and walk across Spain. I mean, there are going to be things that you see on that walk that you would never see if you were in a car. There are things that you're going to be able to feel and experience that you wouldn't be able to do even if you stopped somewhere for a day. There's the difference between speeding from A to B and realizing that the route from A to B is actually what it's all about. It seems to be changing almost like the fabric of your reality, because it's giving you the opportunity to show up completely differently. Two of Cups for me, actually, when you really drill down into it, is a card of intimacy. And I think what's been abundantly clear for Cancers for the longest time is that their experience of intimacy which was taught to them was corrupted. It was fractured, right? And you've done so much work to put that straight now. This movement, this shift that I feel, It actually feels like there's somebody significant coming into your life. Let's just have a look. Pull out this triple goddess here. Tell me about this Two of Cups, please. We've got the King of Cups, which is Scorpio. And we've got the Queen of Wands again. And looky here, the Tower is at the bottom of this deck as well. So we've got double Tower. Now, I'm just going to have to speak the obvious. For some of you, you're going to be meeting someone this month. Now, whether it is in a business partnership sort of situation, if that's the way that you're going, or whether it is something more emotional than that, not necessarily, someone that you would be in a sexual relationship or something, unless that's what you're looking for. But this King of Cups energy is really strong. And look at the link here, right? What you are leaving behind in choosing to not go down this road, but instead go down this road, is attracting someone whose level of emotional maturity matches your own. Now, we've got double Queen of Wands, and you are very much showing up as a Queen of Wands, very action-oriented at the moment, with a very clear idea of what she wants. Not necessarily where you're going, but the way that you intend to go there, right? It's feminine energy, and I'm not trying to suggest to any of the male cancers out there that you're showing up in a more feminine way. Please don't misunderstand me. It's more about the conscious consideration and awareness of all actions taken. This is where it links into this here, right? We're not doing things by default simply because we have always done it that way. We're actually looking to, and these are both Aries energy, initiate something that is very different, and doing it in a very confident, bold, dynamic way. And here comes a King of Cups. Now, like I said, if this is a business situation, then this could be somebody who is actually very important to help you further your goals. For others of you who might not even be looking for a relationship, it could be relationship material. Either way, the frequency that you're giving out around people is very, very different nowadays to the way that it's been before. And I think it's like the less emotionally invested in an unhealthy way that you have been in people, the stronger you have got. And I think for the most part, most of you are aware now of how strong you are, or at least you're starting to get a taste of it. And this King of Cups energy, this Scorpio energy, and we've got Scorpio here too, and actually Scorpio here 3, again, could well be leaning into the transformative power of whatever you are experiencing right now, because this is big. This is you showing up, and this is the universe responding. I mean, the Tower card, again, it isn't a terrifying card, not to me, at least anyway. It's taking out what does not need to be in your life, and it is thrusting you towards where you should be going. But when we move into the cards that we've got here, again, because these two cards here are linked, and they are, both of them talking about healing, both of them talking about hope, both of them talking about the things that make you feel good about yourself, and particularly with a more future-facing kind of energy to it, because the star is Aquarius, and Aquarius is the future, is innovative. It's kind of this like new genius way of thinking about things, and you've got that combined with a willingness to put in effort and commit to something that is really important to you. It feels like there's an overhauling of everything that is going to be catalyzed. Is that the right word? I'm not even sure that it is the right word. The way this month is playing out for you, without wanting to get hyperbolic or insult the sensibilities of anybody who isn't Christian or whatever, and I don't proclaim to be myself either, it feels like tuning into an awareness that you have for the first time, that God might be real, like there might be some sort of underlying consciousness that is actually holding your hand, Cancer, and it wants you to succeed. It wants you to go bigger, bolder, brighter, than anything that you thought would be for the likes of you. And say, with faith, with trust, and with the right behavior, you can absolutely go there. You can absolutely get that. And I'm going to help you do it. There's something of a really deep faith that is crystallizing in you. And the faith and the trust is in self and something higher, something that seems to be protective and benevolent. Now, I have to be careful about the whole, I've got a spiritual defense team, and I am protected. That particular, I am protected, because sometimes you're not, and it's a kind of form of spiritual bypassing. But that's not what I'm feeling here for you. It's like what started as a trickle is becoming a flood. So whatever it is here with this Five of Pentacles that has been lacking, whether internally, externally, materially, spiritually, whatever, it seems to be being perceived in time and space exactly for what it is, which is a hole that's waiting to be filled in the right way. And this isn't something that we need other people for. It's not something that we need, better, a shinier car, bigger house, better quality clothes, whatever. It's nothing about that. It's something really deep and profound within you that is saying, this is the way that I'm going. Like, the Five of Pentacles feels to me like it's only been operative for you because you were thinking too small. And as your thinking is getting bigger and you're perceiving yourself to be part of something so much bigger, this crystallization that I'm talking about just seems to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, your awareness of your limitless self seems to be inveigling its way into your meat sack existence a little bit more than you would have given it credit for just a few short years ago, because everything makes sense now to you. Like, I'm making it sound a little bit like it's some sort of religious experience, and I guess in some sort of way it is, but it's more of a spiritual experience. The Tower is a sudden shock, a jolt. It's something suddenly changing. You changing, something being taken out of your life, you being propelled towards something. And whatever it is that you're doing, whatever the end goal is, whatever it is that you've been trying to work towards for a little while, it feels to me like you've cracked the code. The code isn't material fulfillment by way of this, that, and the other. It's not you having this job. It's not you having the perfect partner. It's not having any of these things. It's that recognition of the fact that it's the journey. I'm trying to find a better way to put it than that, because that seems a bit crap. It's the empowerment of the act of conscious change. Nothing about you is static. In fact, a lot about you is much more malleable and plastic than you thought it was. And it can be trained to do things differently. And that's what you're doing. This Hermit card in reverse is interesting because for me, that represents coming out of a state of internal, deep introspection. That was a tautology, internal introspection. And realizing that it's time to get out there and actually do and actually be. It's like you've contemplated enough, you've gone digging for answers enough. What you have has now helped you make sense of what you need to let go of, or perhaps even what you have let go of. And there's a shift in circumstances that is so sharp and so unexpected, but at the same time, when you put it all together, it feels like it really does support the existence of some sort of benevolent force that is helping you through your life. As I said, not exactly proof for the existence of God, but enough proof for you to know that you are part of something bigger. And the more you can lean into everything, the more you can have. But it all spins on this idea of you expanding. And that expansive energy. Like, there was another sign that I read for this month. I can't even remember who it was. But with them, it was a sharp upward spike. Right? They were just going up that way. That's not how I feel it for you. Right? I even actually scored down. So Scorpio was a jolting. It was just jolting forwards, like on a roller coaster when you first set off, And then there was another sign that was having this upward, catapulting straight up. With you, it's not like that. It's like expansion. It's just expanding in all different directions. And I don't think there's anything going on in your sign at the moment, astrologically speaking, that would necessarily speak to this too much. And yet here we are. And I can't help but wonder if it's because living in such emotional times as we are, where to an extent emotions have superseded things like facts and logical thinking and all that kind of thing, that there is now this huge expansive emotional energy that's just like out there in the world, and it's rolling around and it's affecting everyone. Well, who's going to help us sort that out? Well, in the first instance, it's going to be the water signs, right? But in terms of pointing the direction of travel, who gets to decide where we're going? It's always Cancer. Cancer is cardinal water. You are pointing the way emotionally. Now, there are benefits for you, but there's as far as the collective unconscious is concerned, right? The work that Cancer has done on the emotions, the heavy lifting that Cancer has done on raising the bar of the collective experience of emotion, right? In healing your archetype. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back, 6 months or something when we first started talking about this. Like, that benefit isn't just for you, that's for everyone. The question is, how far can you take this, Cancer? Because genuinely, I think the sky is the limit with you. You just have to allow yourself to expand outwards in all directions. Allow those now understood and mastered emotions to spread out and affect everything that they touch. But it feels like there's a gift coming for you. Something closely related to what it is that you've already decided that you want. And then the sudden deposit of awareness of that higher force. In which you are, as the rest of us are, a cog in the machine. But no, that's the wrong way of putting it. It's like the universe experiencing itself. Right? We're in awe of the universe. It's huge, it's massive, it's infinite, it's powerful. A lot of power in there, a lot of energy in there. And we go, wow, that's really big, and feel slightly intimidated by it. But, holographically speaking, the entire universe is contained within you. You are the universe is you. A drop of water in the ocean and all that kind of thing. There are blessings coming, Cancer. And it's what you wanted, but it's so much more than what you wanted. And there's something so profound about the way it's arriving that your faith has set now. Your trust is set now. This is absolutely fascinating. I'm going to go and leave it here and go to the extended. If you wish to join me over there, you're very welcome to do so. If not, that's absolutely fine. Links are in the description box for either. But this feels like it upends a lot of stuff, and part of what it upends is any last feeling that you have of lack, of loss, of not having what you need, not giving yourself what you need. And you're pointing the way for the rest of the zodiac. It's a transformative experience and immense. But I'm going to leave it here. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.